I'm one of the librarians. I'm in charge of outreach and instruction. Today we're going to go over one of our newest resources, course materials. So here are some reasons why you might want to use course materials. It seamlessly integrates directly into Canvas. There is a website function, but we're just going to go over the Canvas integration today. It can create and modify materials lists. And this isn't only articles, books, movies, clips, internet, whatever, any resource that you really want. It's really good for connecting with students. You can see easily what resources have been used or haven't been used, how many times they're used. And it's also really good. I don't know if one of the main things that I focus on is cost of materials. I'm very big on OER, and this is a great way to reduce the cost for students by using resources that we already have access to, and it can easily integrate OER resources as well. It also has integrated library support directly in the system, so we can help you with things like copyright or finding resources, connecting them. And then it's very easy to duplicate lists for future terms or for other professors. So maybe you're teaching one section and somebody else is teaching a different section. You can easily share those resources. Okay, so let's show you how to actually create and manage a list. So I'm in Canvas. I'm recording this. I'll send you the recording. So just follow along with me, and then you can do it on your own later. So here I am. If I don't have, and you see it's not actually listed right now. So just as a reminder to get it listed here, I'll click on settings. And then navigation. I'll choose course materials and I'm just going to lift this up over here. And then I always make this mistake. You have to go all the way down to the bottom and hit save because I've forgotten that several times. And then I'm wondering why it's not there. And then once you click save, then you'll see that the I is no longer X'd out, which means that now students can see it. So you can see I've already created a couple of lists here, but we're going to start off by making a new list. Okay, so let's imagine that we haven't made any lists yet. So I can either import if I have a file, like maybe I have an RIS file and you want to import a list directly in there, you can do that. But for now, we're just going to create a new one from scratch. So I'll give it a title and a description if I want, and then I'll click create. And now I can see my title and description right up here. Now, we in the future may create templates, but as it is right now, there's just the default template in there. So just click on default template. And now we're at the list. And the first thing I always suggest doing, you'll notice you can choose not now on this, but I don't suggest this. I always suggest associating the list as soon as you make it, because otherwise you could forget. And if you don't associate a list with a particular class, the students aren't going to see it. Even though we're inside of a class in Canvas already, you still need to associate it with this particular class. Okay, so to do that, I'll click associate. I'll see my list of classes where I'm a teacher, choose whichever one that I want. And then it'll say when is the class and how many participants. If I wanted, I can associate this same list with several courses. Maybe you're teaching 3 sections of the same class. You don't have to build the list 3 times. You just associate it with all of those sections. Or I can just click to associate if it's only one and close. So here is my empty list. And the first thing I'm going to do is click to add items. Now, there are 4 different ways to do it, but the one that you'll probably end up using the most is this right here. That's the library search. So if you don't know the name of a particular resource, you can actually find it in here, but I suggest that it's probably better to go to the library homepage, find your resources. When you have the title, you can come in here and just search for it. So if I want to, right now I'm searching in everything, but I can in the drop down, I can choose articles and more, the library catalog, if I have things on course reserves or newspapers. And I can also choose an advanced search if I need to. So I just done a very basic keyword search for Pride and Prejudice. If you've been to any of my sessions, you'll know that they're always with Austen. So if I click right here, I can narrow by resource type. So maybe I'm interested in a particular resource type or a particular availability. And you'll notice right here, we have that open access, which I'm a big fan of. So I'm going to point that out. So I've scrolled down until I find the resource that I'm interested in. I've clicked on it. And now I have two options. I can add it, which will just put it right on here, or I can add and edit. And that gives me some other options that I tend to use. So that's what I'm going to do here. I can also add it to a clipboard or add it to suggestions. Maybe I'm building this. Maybe I'm a department head and I want to make suggestions for other faculty members or something. I can do that. So right now I'll just click add and edit to my list. And now you see it right here. And now this menu has popped up, and this has information that I can give to my students. So for example, if I wanted to add a URL, now you see this has the link directly to the library's resource right here. So this would be if you wanted to add an additional link. You don't need to add a link. It's just if you want more information or something. And here's where you can add student notes, pick a due date, and you can also say when you want to display the citation. So you can have it be turned off if you'd like. When I'm all done, I'll click save. Okay, so now I'm looking at it and I can click on these three little dots. You'll notice these three dots all over the place throughout the system. Those is the menu. So I've clicked on the three dots over here to open the options menu. And again, if I needed to edit it, if I missed something in the last step, I can do that here. I can add it to my clipboard. I can just copy the citation if maybe I want to create a list of citations. I can move it to a different class. I can copy it. I can mark it as done. I can create a shareable link. I'm pointing this out, and I think Jason's going to talk about this a little further on. And you can also do a quick citation here or delete the item. I can also add tags to the item, which can be really helpful, especially for students. So let's say, they're trying to find a specific article, rather than having to go through all of them, especially if you have a large set of results, you can quickly just create tags. Maybe I might be doing an Austen unit, so I can tag them all with Austen or something like that. And then again, right here, this is where I view it online, and this will bring me directly to the link. One of the advantages to doing this is that you're letting the library know what resources you're using. We base all of our holdings off of how often they're used, how popular and reliable the resources are. So the more we see a faculty member using a particular resource, the more we know to keep that resource and maybe find others in similar veins. Okay, so if I want, I can add another item now. And if I want, I can either pick a blank form or upload a file. And I'll be honest, I don't know why they bothered to put these into two separate boxes, because they effectively do the same thing. So either one really. I'm just going to click on the blank form, but you see right here, it has the thing to add the file. So if you have a file for an article that you've been using often, you want to just throw it in here, you can do that. And then you'll fill in the form. So what's the title, the author, what kind of resource it is. And again, it's all of those same things that we looked at before. If you want to add a note or due date, those kinds of things. So now I've added my article. And now it's going to ask me about copyright. And this is one of the main reasons why I suggest using this, is because the library can be a big help in copyright and making sure things are copyrighted. By putting it here, you're already skipping over a lot of copyright issues that we don't have to deal with, because it's being hosted by the database. They're the ones that deal with the copyright issues. So you have more responsibility if you're the one that's going to be adding the article or any resource directly here. So you can see, is it fair use? Did you write it? Do you want the library to review it? So there's my file. And again, I've just clicked add And now you'll see it right here. But you see, instead of over here where I have view online, now I see view the PDF or download it.
By the way, Susie, if I
Sure.
can just add something, as you're pointing out, okay, so maybe I, as a faculty member, have a PDF that I like to use, and I might say, well, why do I even need to do anything different? Why can't I just keep using my PDF? As you noted, certainly it helps with identifying circulation and usage information. It also happens to help with accessibility because a lot of faculty have started using the Ally tool to link PDFs that are not very accessible to the library databases because it leverages their accessibility. This would do the same thing. So again, if you have PDFs of scholarly articles that you just have on hand, and they happen to be getting low accessibility scores, this is another way to help address that too.
A really important point. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. So next.
I do. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
You're sending. Hang on, Sorry, I don't mean to be hidden. You're sending this to us, right? Because I have this. I'm doing this on the iPad, and I'm trying to follow along on the desktop, but I'm kind of falling behind because I'm like, what? So you're going to send this recording to us, right?
I am going to send it to you, and I'm also going to show you plenty of places where you can go for help. So I would suggest just watching for right now because it is really confusing to go back and forth.
Yeah, this has not been working. I'm like, and I keep getting lost. So thanks.
Okay, no problem. All right, so if you want to, you can just have one big long list, or if you want, you can make sections. So right now I'm in my Austin section, and then maybe I want to make a Bronte section. You could tell what I majored in college. So you can keep doing different sections if you want. It's just how you want to organize it. I can also click here to send it to the library for review. So if I want to, I can just have it published. But like I said, we're partners in this, especially as it relates to copyright and those types of issues. So it is probably a good idea to send it to the library for review. In this case, because it already says complete on these, I'd probably just get a notice back that everything's good. But you might see something like it might say in processing. And that's the library double checking it. So when you're all done with it, you'll click publish. That's important. Don't forget that, or the students aren't going to be able to see it. So there is my list. And now I can see that it's published. Okay, so if you don't see that, then you have to go back and make sure it is. One of the things I like, as I mentioned, is that you can see the usage statistics. So you just click right here. Now, right now, obviously, this is a sandbox class, so there's no usage, but you'll be able to see what the actual usage is when it's a real class with your students right down here. Caroline, right over here, Carolyn, sorry.
Right, no, it's Caroline.
Oh, it is Caroline. I'm sorry. Here is the questions. And so right here has get started videos and guided tours where little boxes will pop up along the way that will show you where you're supposed to point. So in addition to us sending you this, that might also be helpful to you. And then if I come right over here to these three little lines, that's just the table of contents, and I can see where my lists are, or if I wanted, I can look at different collections. So remember I said that you could add these things to a collection, maybe for all of a particular section or all of a particular class. And then I'm going to come over here to my profile. If I want, I can change to different languages. I think right now they just have English and Spanish. I can also come over here to the accessibility menu, and that will show me where I can choose different size fonts, or if I want something high contrast, I'll click close when I'm done. And then the last thing I'll show over here is the Cite It. So this is another way to get resources into the system, and it's pretty easy to do. Click on Cite It, and then you'll just drag this, literally click and drag it up to your favorites bar. And then anytime there is a resource online or something that you wanted to add, you can just click that little Cite It button and it will put it into the system as well. So if this is particularly good for like websites and things.
And this is a major convenience. I can only imagine how many faculty are, you're perusing, you're doing your environmental scanning, you've come across an article and say, ooh, this would be great for my particular course. You don't even have to log into your Canvas. If you have that bookmark on your, among your choices, you just click on that and it'll save the information and send it right to your list. So later when you're not on vacation, you can go back and take a look at it.
Okay, so here I was at a website and I just clicked on a little cite it, and you'll see it did bring up certain things, but it didn't bring up everything. So that is just something to be aware of. So I would just need to copy this name and add it over here to the author. And again, I can choose where I'm going to list it. If you're not in Canvas, then that becomes important to make sure you put it in the right place. The next thing we'll talk about are collaborators. So right now I'm the only collaborator in this course, which means I'm the only one that can do anything in it, in the course materials section. But I'll click right here to manage collaborators. And then I just started typing in Jason's name and he popped right up. I was able to click and then send him an invitation. And now, did you get that invitation? I sent it way early this morning.
Sorry, I just realized I was muted. You send it, how would it arrive? Is an inbox message or as in Canvas?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
You see, I am seeing, let's see, collaborators. Oh wait, there's an alert. I see a notification. Yes.
Okay.
Can I share screen for a moment?
Yes, please.
So here is the way that it presents to me. So I'm in my own course here. I happen to have open course materials. And then as I looked over here in my upper corner, there's a notification waiting for me. And okay, so it appears, I've been invited to.
I don't know if you need to accept. I think that it's already there.
Okay, I mean, my name is already there, so I've been added to this. That's what I've been told. So if I click on it, now I can see your list.
Thank you. So I can also manage the collaborators. The default is that Jason can edit the list, but I could also allow him to be a collaborator to manage the list. So these are what those two things mean. If he can just edit the list, then that means that he can add, edit, or remove resources and sections. But if he can manage the list, he can do all of the things that you can do when you edit, but now you can also add and remove collaborators. You can associate it to different cohorts, delete a list, or duplicate a list. So it's just giving them a little bit more permissions. And then the last thing I'll show you is right down here, the library discussion. So in addition to sending the list to the library, if you have a question that you just want to ask about something, you can just do that right over here, submit your comments to the library and discuss it back and forth right within the course materials section. So one other place that you can go for help. So I showed you before where you can get the questions, but you can also go to the course materials LibGuide. So I'm at the library homepage and I'll click right here on faculty resources. And then I can click on the faculty resource guide. So if you haven't been here, it's chock full of lots of information for faculty in a variety of ways. But right now I'm going to come over here to course materials. And then I can see there's all different kinds of videos here. And I think they're in French, Spanish, German. And And then the last way that you can also always ask for help on this or any resource that you have a question on is by clicking on Ask a Librarian. You can set up an appointment with us. We can help you. I've helped some professors set up their initial list. Once it's all set up, it's very easy to keep using it every semester. But if you have any trouble setting it up that first time, then you can always schedule an appointment. Does anybody have any questions for me before I throw it back over to Jason? Okay. So throwing it over to Jason.
Okay, well, thank you, Susie. My piece is relatively brief, unless, of course, there are questions. So I'm going to share my screen. I have a sandbox course here. And now one thing that you'll notice, by the way, is over here on the left menu, you don't see course materials. That's because there's actually multiple ways to activate this tool in your course. Just out of curiosity, how many of you have used Proctorio for exams? Okay, so Margaret, you know that if you don't activate the secure exam proctor over here, Proctorio is just not going to work. So course materials not being here, though, there's yes, you can do it exactly as Susie mentioned. Go to settings, go to navigation, and then I could pull course materials up here. However, another option is to go to modules. How many of you have used VoiceThread in your courses? Oh, okay, well, I picked VoiceThread as another example of an external tool, and it isn't activated that way. There isn't a way to to go to settings and use that to find VoiceThread. To activate VoiceThread in your course, you simply add it to a module. Add external tool, and then you have the list of different tools here. Well, as I said, VoiceThread is down here, and as you can see over here, I've already added VoiceThread into this course, but you will also notice that course materials is an option here. So if you click on this and click add item, I'm not going to do that because I already have added it here. So here, course materials is now active on the modules page. As any of you who have worked with the instructional designers in our department know, we certainly endorse and recommend the use of modules. It's a good way to control the navigational path for your students so that they understand what you want them to see in the order that you want them to see it. So in that way, when you put course materials here, you can treat it very much like VoiceThread. You can, when you use VoiceThread and you activate the tool, a lot of faculty leave it unpublished because they don't want students to arrive at one page and see all of the voice threads of the course. Same thing applies with course materials. If I click on it right here, you will see the entirety of course materials in this course. Now, I only have a couple of items in one list, a public speaking list here. Some of you may wish to put all of your readings right up there at the get started point, and then throughout the course, as we get into your modules, simply make direct references to those readings. You can put lessons on lesson pages, you can put links, access the supplemental reading on course materials. So by clicking on this link, this allows me to open a separate window to the course materials readings. As Susie had noted, you can create a shareable link, and that's what I essentially added here. For those of you who are used to adding URLs to your Canvas pages, say, hey, folks, here's an external reading I'd like you to take a look at. This is one way to present it. Now, you also otherwise could take that same shareable link and add it to an individual module. So instead of adding external tool, I'll add the external URL. I didn't capture. My apologies. Create shareable link. I needed to copy to clipboard. Pardon me. And then I come over here and add external URL. Paste. And I have to name this something, public 1. And now this item has been put at the bottom of my module. So when I publish it, then students will arrive at this page and see just this one reading that I want them to look at. So obviously, course materials is a great tool to collect all of the readings for your courses. But once it comes down to presenting them in your courses, you obviously want to think about in what order, how do I dole this information out? I don't want to overwhelm them. Okay, everyone, here's all the readings that you're going to need to do all semester. You can give it to them one piece at a time. And again, depending on the style of course design that you are presently comfortable with, you have the option of either putting the course materials tool right up here in the Get Started module and presenting everything. And then likewise, you can either add individual URLs to shareable link URLs for individual readings onto your lesson pages, or you can add those readings right into your module as an external link, just as you would do if you were putting external links in here to read other web articles. Does anyone have any questions? Anyone have any questions? Do either of you have any questions, I should say, about options for how to present your course materials content in Canvas?
Does it seem like a resource you might want to use?
I mean,
It does. I think it's really helpful. Oops,
Yeah.
sorry.
I would say so. I mean, if nothing, it comes down to what kinds of course materials do you present to your students in the way of readings, videos, articles, etc. I mean, if you are teaching a course that is primarily taught out of a hard copy textbook that is sold out of the bookstore and there's really no other materials to it, this might not be the option that you would go with. But as I would imagine most content areas are becoming these days, with the desire to have up-to-date readings, looking again, you're scanning environmentally, looking for current articles, current developments in your area that you're bringing readings into your course. And if you are typically collecting course instructional materials from a wide variety of areas, articles, text, online textbooks, especially open source readings for textbooks, open educational resources, videos, any other number of resources. This is a great way to collect them together. And it has those added benefits of giving the library information about circulation, give it so that they know what they want to have in their resources available for our faculty and for our students. It helps to address the accessibility issue, which is something that a lot more faculty are becoming aware of and conscientious of. So this kind of, it covers so many bases at once. So if this is the kind of collection of resources that you tend to provide students anyway, this is a really great tool to sort of focus them. And I think ultimately, once you've got them in here, will make it a lot more convenient and easy for the faculty member to maintain them and update them.
You know, I teach a PhD course, and it's called Nursing Concept Analysis Through the Lens of the Humanities, and we use a lot of films. Can you show how I could add films to this course materials list?
Sure. Susan, do you have an example of videos in collections?
Actually, well, one of my examples was a film, because it's going to be done
Okay.
the same way.
Same way?
If you just click on, where is it? I'll show my screen. It doesn't really make a difference what kind of resource it is. It's all going to be done the same way.
Okay.
So if I come here, wait, I went to the wrong one. So I'll come here to library resource and so right over here, I just choose video or whatever kind of resource type that it is. And then I'll put it in there, add and edit. And then the students will be able to view it online the same way that they would if it was any other kind of resource. So it'll bring them straight to the resource. In this case, it's a video, but it wouldn't really necessarily make a difference. I didn't know that this movie was available. I want to see this. One other thing that I forgot to mention that I did just want to show you since we're here. Another way that you can do it is by just clicking and dragging. So that makes it really easy. The only thing about this is that you still, if you want to add all of those add and edit and everything, then I need to come back in here and edit the item to add these little things here. But this should work for any kind of resource that the library has to offer.
Now, likewise, if she were to find a YouTube video out there, the cited tool would be the way to have that added to your content.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a web article would be.
Right.
So any other questions? All right, well, we're both here to help if you have any questions or you need any help setting any of this up. And like I said, Jason record. Oh, yes.
So, yeah, thank you. So I'm working with a graduate student who's doing an annotated bibliography. Do I need to get an extra course for her? Like, how do I do that?
I'm not sure if this is the best resource for that. I would actually suggest using Academic Writer, which is a different resource that we have. This is more to share with students than necessarily make an annotated bibliography. But
Okay.
Academic Writer is really great for that. They have like a whole system that where you can track the citations, automatically to make the citations and then annotate them. So I would definitely suggest that for her. Are you using APA?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Then yes, Academic Writer would be the best place for that.
Okay.
And
Thank
you
you.
have, is there a LibGuide on that one, on Academic Writer?
Oh, there is. There's plenty of LibGuides on it, and like I said, if you ever wanted to schedule an appointment or just stop into the library, we're happy to show you the more specific, or send her to the library. We're happy to do that.
I'll schedule an appointment because I have no idea how to use Academic Writer.
Okay.
And I have one other question, which is that I have a general library question. I was going to do chat with the librarian. So would it be possible for me to spend a minute or two afterwards with you? Because
Of course,
to ask
sure.
that question?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. I don't mean to hijack this. So just
No, I think we're done, right?
Yes, I'm gonna stop the recording at this point.
Okay. So yeah, we'll send